Ooh. Hey, it's your girl MJ, and welcome to the Michelle Tillman channel. I'm your girl, Michelle Tillman. Lord Jesus, I don't know what I'm... Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. So, today's video, we're in our 30-day series, 30 days to your dream date. Totally missed yesterday's tip. I'm so sorry. I don't know how I did that. I don't know how I made it the whole day. Probably because I went to bed at 8:30. I just been so tired, y'all. I think it's the weather. But today I will give you 2 tips since I missed yesterday. 30 days to your dream date. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and like this video. So today's 2 tips kind of go together. The first tip that you want to do for your dream date is to break the ice and let him know that you're down to earth and that you're not this perfect girl, because a lot of times when you're saved and you're a woman of God and you put it out there that I'm saved and I'm a woman of God, the guy puts you on this pedestal like you have never done anything wrong in your life. So what you want to do is to just bring that on down, like, hey, I'm just a regular person, and tell an embarrassing story about yourself. Say something funny that you did, or something that happened to you or happened to someone around you, and just that you're in the story, so you can see if he will laugh. You can laugh yourself just to kind of break the ice, so he knows he can be honest about things that he's messed up with before, and you just kind of want to break that ice. Like, I tell a story how this girl tried to get me caught up when I was in high school stealing, and then I realized she was lying to me about what we were doing, and I didn't realize it was actually stealing, and I almost got in big trouble. So then I seen her at the mall, and I started chasing her down with my car, and I was about to run her over, but then I saw the police, and I was like, ooh, yes, no. So yes, I tried to run somebody over with my car. Yes, she tried to get me caught up with stealing. She told me, oh, my sister is coming. Can you do this? Because my sister's coming later to our store. We both work together. So she told me something about her sister. It was a huge lie. And so she basically got me caught up trying to steal something, but I didn't realize it was stealing because I thought this was something we were doing for her sister to put aside. Her sister already bought something. Long story. Okay, yeah. So, but the thing is, it's like a vulnerable story, like, oh my gosh, something very criminal, something very like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing, like nobody wants to know that, and I got in trouble and I couldn't go to prom and all this stuff because of this. So it's very vulnerable. It's funny. I tried to run her down with my car. Nobody would ever believe that about me. So that's the thing, like, tell something embarrassing about yourself, something like, it doesn't have to be that far as what I just did, but tell something embarrassing, because he needs to know that you're a real person and that you're not perfect, and that he can tell his deepest things with you. So I'm not saying say something really deep, but say a story that maybe he would not normally think about you. So that way he'll realize, like, okay, this girl's cool, she's funny. So that's the light-hearted part of today's tip. The other part of the tip is this: ask him what he's convicted about. And I say that because you cannot assume that because he's a believer that he's convicted about the same things that you are convicted about. And I learned this back in high school, because I remember I was dating this guy, and he told me that he was a Christian, very involved in his church, like he was a deacon and everything. He was like a 19-year-old deacon. And I was like, wow, man, this guy's really saved and yada, yada, yada. And so he had made this comment to me one time. Yes, like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm not a partier, you know, I'm very much into the word. And he was like, my only thing is sex, though. Like, that's the only area. I just can't really stop having sex. well, that's the only area. That's a pretty huge deal. So when there are actually men out there who are like, oh, I love God, I go to church, I tithe, I serve, but yeah, sex, ooh, that's my one thing. So that is an actual philosophy of lots of men. An actual philosophy. Men who are in church who lift their hands and worship every Sunday. So what you need to do is ask him, what type of things are you convicted about? Let him go first. You cannot go first because he's just going to copy what you say. I know you think he has his own mind, but trust me, when he's trying to impress you, he's going to copy what you say. Ask him what he's convicted about. So like, give me a few things that you're convicted about in your walk with God. Like, what are some things that other people think are okay, but you're like, absolutely not. I can't participate. And just see what he says and take note. If he doesn't put sex on that list, then maybe you have to ask, are you convicted about premarital sex? But only after he has given you his list of at least 3 things, then you can like ask, well, are you convicted about this? Are you convicted about that? Things that are important to you. You don't have to say, well, I'm waiting till I'm married. And no, just ask him what he's convicted about. And if he does not think to bring it up, then he's not convicted about it. So that is the 2 tips I have for you today. I'm actually outside of an appointment. I got to go inside now. And I will see you guys tomorrow with another tip. Bye.